Hi, I'm Cam. Welcome to my channel. I'll be playing Planet Zoo on franchise mode. So this is the beginning of the Brisbane Zoo, which, as you can see, I already made one attempt at laying out and didn't quite like it. As you can see, I didn't start from scratch on this franchise mode. I like having a bit of money to play with. I mostly just like the marketplace from franchise mode, to be honest, and the ability to, swap my animals in from other zoos. There's a couple of other zoos on this save at the moment. A breeding zoo mostly for events, and sort of my first attempt at a well-made franchise zoo. So this is the Brisbane Zoo. A little bit of lore, I guess. Within the story of the game. This would be the second zoo from this franchising company. The other being the Geelong Zoo, which again, a city without a real zoo. Brisbane, of course, has the Australia Zoo just north of it, but it doesn't really count because it is in the Sunshine Coast, which is an hour and a half away from the middle of the city, 2 hours, something like that. Basically the idea is that the city of Brisbane and the Queensland state government would have combined forces to source some funding for a real zoo that's actually in Brisbane. With everything going on with the upcoming Olympic Games, there's been a lot of pushback on where all the funding is going, so the canon for this story is that the council or the state government was selling off some former industrial land very quickly, very cheaply, and that the zoo company snapped it up and decided to have a zoo together before 2032 when the Brisbane Olympics are. Obviously, depending on that rush of tourists, who obviously won't only be going to the games, they'll be wanting the other facilities that a large city can offer. So they sent, this will be a fully trained zookeeper here, that they would have sent one of their senior zookeepers over, presumably. I'm hoping by the time I actually have animals up, she'll be up to 5 stars. I think it's a woman. I can't remember actually. What you'll see here is about all the effort I'm going to put into a street area. All these people who can build car parks and street and shop fronts and all that stuff amaze me, but I'm working off a laptop, so I will not be able to commit piece count to a car park. And so being on, former industrial land in the inner city, I imagine it would be reasonably well connected as far as public transport goes. So this is just supposed to be an underpass to a train station. Probably not actually an underground train. There'd probably be a row of shops on the opposite side of the road, or businesses or something, and there would be a trench in the ground basically that the train station would be in, and this would just be an underpass under what would have been a busy road. Obviously it's not wheelchair accessible. There would be a wheelchair accessible exit on the other side of the road and a pedestrian crossing available, but I'm not building the other side of the road. It eats up piece count, but obviously I will make a reasonable I'll make the zoo reasonably accessible, as far as I can tell. I'm no expert on the subject, obviously. That's why I'm building zoos on YouTube. I won't pretend to be as good at this as, you've got a million other people to look at, let's be honest. This this particular build would be the first time I've had the game in about a month. My laptop cable was sparking out and I ordered the wrong one to replace it. But while I didn't have a laptop, I started watching a lot more builds on YouTube and just got the bug. So as soon as I got the laptop back, it was just a matter of getting started. So this is something of an entrance building. It's just going to be basically just a toilet block and well, they're information kiosks, but they're themed as ticket booths. As you can see, I'm trying to use the paths, again saving on piece count. In my Geelong Zoo build, I do that trick that everybody enjoys doing, where they use flat pieces as the ground to cover up the paths and things, but I'm planning on this being a reasonably large zoo, and I know my laptop's not going to be able to take that piece count. It was struggling towards the end of Geelong Zoo, but that didn't really make it to what I'd hoped it to be size-wise. So yeah, it's not the most intricate of builds, but a lot of things I'm really happy with. But yeah, as I said, this is my first build back after at least a month away from the game, probably longer. So I may come back and touch things up, especially things like the front sign that'll come up later. Let me know in the comments if the camera moves around a bit much, especially on these tight bits. I know sometimes when I watch the speed build portions, it does get a little bit motion sick. But if it's not bothering anybody, then I'll leave it at the speed that it's at. Another idea I have for Brisbane Zoo, as it's being made on a time limit and you know, relying on public funds where it can and things, it's probably not going to be particularly extravagant, so you'll see a lot of things like I just used there, that basic Planet Zoo hanging light piece, because it does just look like a regular fluorescent lighting. And I don't think I ended up placing any here, but the light poles and things will also just be that basic Planet Zoo light post, just because I think it fits with the vibe. And yeah, so this is just kind of the aesthetic that a lot of the interior facilities will probably have. This lighter brick at the bottom and light stained wood for the top, with some white trim and things. I do usually tend towards like a dark brick and dark metal and glass, like that really modern look, but I think I wanted something a bit lighter for it's a sunnier climate than I usually build in. Speaking of the weather, I guess, the geography, where Brisbane would be on that franchise map is actually a temperate now, which is probably more accurate, but I don't like the temperate Oceania map. The island really didn't fit with what I've got, so I just moved it a bit north and put it back to tropical where it would have been before the Oceania pack. So I wasn't sure quite what I was going to do with fencing. At that point, as you could see, I've already laid out the bases and things, but it doesn't take me long to settle on something that I like. I didn't want it to be... I'm trying not to keep things at that massive 4 meters that everything is. I do tend to work on a grid when I'm building, but I'm trying to kick that habit. It does make a lot of things easier. Yeah, it's... I'm working on it. So this is about 3 meter fence, which seems reasonably, yeah, about as high as you would want it to be. Again, this will be in that same color scheme as the building, more or less. I do use the same shade of white in most of the things. It's just the different materials show that up a little bit differently. But like I'm happy with this as a basic fence. This is what I would expect. You know, it's reasonably aesthetically pleasing. It does the job, and it wouldn't be that expensive, I wouldn't think. I'm not a builder or anything like that, so I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't look like it'd break the bank. I somehow missed in that part that the second gate there is about a foot away from the back of the fence, unlike the other side. I do pick it up later when I'm putting the railing in. But it's just these little bits and pieces when you think you're moving things on the world axis, and it's slightly off because you've selected one too many pieces or something. But yeah, nobody's perfect, me least of all. This is where I pick it up when the handles don't line up, because they are on the axis. And I noticed, and they didn't put that second handle on, so I have to go back and fix that as well. The land set aside for the zoo, as I said earlier, was a former like industrial area, so this would have been an actual road, this main entryway, and there'll be another one a bit further along, which will be like a staff entrance, and I'll put the staff buildings and things over a bit further over than where the temporary spots are. But I think they would have probably closed off the street properly with yeah, like even just concrete and some bollards, which is what I've put here. Probably continued them a bit far up the street, but I will be doing the build for that little portion over the side there in the next video. That something that would have been a building that was there when the zoo purchased the land. It would have been heritage listed, and so they can't do a lot to it, but they can find a use for it. So here you can see me trying to duplicate that one zoo sign a lot of people use that's on the workshop. We're going to try not to use too much workshop. There's not really any avoiding using those coloured aquatic rocks, but beyond that I'm going to try to keep out of workshop stuff. Just yeah, you're watching a video to watch somebody build something, not somebody to pick from their blueprints. Also, I hate watching videos where people don't credit the workshop pieces that they use properly, and there's things sitting on my Steam Workshop that I downloaded years ago that I wouldn't even know where to begin. So yeah, any blueprints I do end up using, I will probably credit. Or at least I'll try my best, and if I miss anything, be sure to let me know in the comments. So I keep the sign reasonably simple here. This is really the only font I like using in the game. If I was better with, Canva and things like that, I would probably make something a bit more custom, but I do like this font. I'm not sure about the pictures I've used on the sign, but I just felt like it needed something, and I'm not the best at like garden work and things like that, as you'll see later on when I put in some planters. But I figured something nice and kid friendly or something, one of these signs. Even what I do end up settling on, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to keep. I do like the platypus as like a sort of a mascot for the zoo. There will be one in there later, and I did do up a quick logo on Canva that does have a platypus in it. I haven't been back and tested that light in the dark. I should probably get around to that. And Brisbane's got a reasonably warm climate, like I mentioned before when I was picking the colouring, so I do plan to put in quite a bit of shade, because it does get quite hot there, especially in the summer. So this is just kind of a shaded walkway for the entrance. Nothing spectacular. But I am reasonably happy with this sort of simple design. So I am hoping that if anybody does end up watching this, that we get a little bit of interaction. So every episode or so I'll be asking the viewers to name something. In this case it will be our senior zookeeper. if anybody wants to comment a name, whether it's your own or just a name you like, nothing offensive or silly or anything like that. But I'll pick the one I like the best, I guess. Yeah, I'll probably be a lot of staff and buildings where we can, even the animals. Maybe I'll start doing polls on the off chance more people start watching. But like, I know a lot of zoos will put up a couple of options for the baby animal name kind of thing, to stop things like, you know, Bodie McBoatface or the various things that 4chan have got through on online polls over the years, and so that they can keep within, you know, naming convention they have themselves, whether it's the native language where the animal's from or something like that. But yeah, if you wanted to put suggestions for our senior zookeeper's name, that would be great. So we're just about wrapping up here. We'll be heading into the cinematics in a minute. They're not really that cinematic, but it doesn't have the HUD up. As you can see, I'm seeing where the light posts would go, but they won't. They don't really fit in this area. I will be using them throughout the zoo, like I said. And here you can see me forgetting that the other hanging lights exist. I do find them. I don't really expect a lot of nighttime traffic in this area, so lighting won't be a priority. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.